straight in the lion's den.
Yeah, I think that's how it starts, right? I mean, like you can kind of you could try as you might, and this goes for I think kind of for everything in life. It's like I can try to prepare myself for something mentally, but until you actually do it, you have you have no idea what it's really going to be like. And oftentimes, I can think my way into not doing something. I'm just as likely to think my way into not doing something than to think about how to do it properly. So I have to just kind of do it trial by error, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like I always have these plans in my head on how I'm going to approach something, and then like it's like whenever I picked up my 1 year chip.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you pick up your 1 year, you're like they're like, oh, how'd you do it? How'd you do it?
Mm-hmm.
So I had this plan, this speech in my head that I was gonna not speech, just what I was gonna say.
Friends, Romans, countrymen.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, all right, this is gonna be like straight to the point, cover all bases. Well, the time came, and as soon as I stood up to go pick it up, my mind just went blank. And I was like, and I just went off the hip, and it worked out better that way.
Yeah,
because it was honest and it was true and it wasn't premeditated.
Yeah.
So,
do you go to a lot of meetings?
I try to. I probably don't go to as many as I should.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, every now and then, a couple of times a week, it's good to get a little recharge.
Yeah.
And bring yourself back to like a regroup.
Yeah. Oh man, it's totally essential for me. It's like
Yeah.
it's not even when I'm not going. Like I really feel the difference.
You can get carried away.
Yeah.
You can get carried away and get stuck up here.
Yeah.
And I feel everything's going good. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, if you don't stay on top of your recovery,
Yeah.
I mean, you can fall off.
Yeah. Do you think it's a disease?
Yeah.
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 Just making sure.
Yeah.
Just making sure I'm in good company. It is definitely a disease.
Yeah.
I mean, like whether or not we think it is, it is. It's just in the book of diseases.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And I was just thinking about today about how clever our minds are at trying to get us to go back out. Like they say it's like the only disease that makes you think that you don't have a disease.
That, and it'll trick you into doing getting back out there. Old bad habits.
Yeah. Yeah, and have you been like sober for a while, and you've kind of like accepted, okay, I definitely have this problem. I'm gonna get some help, right? You like after a while, like the voice in your head starts to get a little bit more shifty, a little bit more creative.
Oh, I can do this.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing pretty good now, so maybe I could just have a beer.
I just needed that little break.
I need that year.
For exactly.
Yeah.
I've told myself that before.
Yeah. So that's just the voice that the disease talks to us in. It's clever. It talks to us with our own voice and makes it sound like, oh, it's gonna be, maybe I could have. You know what I always romanticize is a glass of wine. I romanticize that so like, and I know now that that's just like, that's the one that my disease always tries to get me with. Is like, well, I mean, like, come on, like you've been sober for 3.5 years now. Like, you mean to tell me that you're on some French Riviera, and you're backpacking through Europe, and someone goes, now this is wine from my great grandfather's vineyard.
Like 20 years back.
I'd like to have a glass with you right now. You're gonna say no? And the answer is yes, unfortunately. I'm going to say no. I mean, fortunately, in many ways, I'm going to say no. But, like, that's just the voice that my disease talks to me.
Yeah.
And, it's shifty.
Yeah.
It's clever.
Yeah, for me, it's cold beer.
It's a cold beer?
Just a cold beer. Cold beer after work. Or just on a Saturday watching football or it's old habits.
Yeah.
And it's like even... seeing some things on TV like old like during a baseball game where I went to school and seeing the beer showers,
right,
and it's like holy shit, I remember.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a trigger.
Yeah, big time. I could imagine. You know, one of the things that it's tough, like when your thing was alcohol, and it was for me, like, it's tough because it's everywhere, you know, and they make it look so good on the commercials and in the movies and on, you know, like on these TV series, like you see someone having a glass of whiskey and it means because of the branding that's been done, it means like, oh, he's a badass.
Exactly.
You know, he's a man.
And yeah, it's so normal now.
Yeah, it's normalized.
And that's me, the way I grew up, the way I was raised. I mean, it was normal for, you know, my mom to have a glass of wine or my dad to drink a beer after work.
Yeah.
And then whenever I got, you know, into high school and going into college, and you get together with your friends, it's like, let's see who can get the most fucked up. You know, like you compete, and it's, you know, it's fun, but it leads all to the same road. The road leads to
the fetal position.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm always saying it. You know, on a long enough timeline, I'm gonna end up in the fetal position thinking about killing myself. That's what a cold beer means, actually. Like if I
you break out in handcuffs and cocaine and
yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna end with me in the fetal position contemplating suicide.
Yeah.
If I drank a beer. That's what it means for me. I have to have a clear mental image of the last time I drank, you know. And it's not even just the last time I drank. It's every time I drank on a long enough timeline. That's where it ends up. Yeah. I might have drank like a gentleman, you know. And this was really important for me when I first got clean. Like somebody told me, you know, somebody that I trusted, you know, told me, you know what? If you tried to drink right now, or you got some clean time under your belt and you tried to drink, you would maybe drink like a gentleman for a full year. You might not have any incidents, you know, but what evidence do you have that points to you're going to be successful at drinking versus the evidence that points to you're going to end up in the fetal position thinking about killing yourself? And you're like, I have to stop being insane.
Yeah.
I have to stop being insane and just admit that like something different happens to me when I drink than normal people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, I've tried to do that so many times.
Yeah.
And like you said, every time it could happen a day later, or it could happen 6 months down the road.
Yeah.
I always end up in the same spot, and that's, you know, needing help.
Mm-hmm.
And
not being able to ask for it for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not wanting to.
Yeah.
Because you see all these other people and they're like, oh, well, they can control this. And it might look like that on the surface.
Right.
Or, you know, they could be just like me at the time.
Right. The other thing that's tough about our disease is that there are people who can drink and hold it together, you know, that don't have that same emptiness and that same despair and that same like endless need for more, you know. And that's a tough pill to swallow, you know, that other people can without it ruining their lives, you know. But, you know, one of the things that Jeremy said to me really stuck. He said, you know, if I make this one admission of powerlessness in my life, then the world becomes full of infinite possibilities. As soon as I just make this one admission of powerlessness, I cannot control this one thing in my life. Boom. Now I'm like infinite possibilities.
Well, yeah, give up one thing for the rest of your life. Give up the rest of your life for
one thing. Ooh, come on, zing.
Yeah. There you go.
That's what it is. So you've been clean and sober for over a year now?
Yeah, a year, and tomorrow will be 2 months.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Hell yeah. I remember when I got my first year, I was like at the meeting where I took my chip. I didn't have a speech planned, but I did have like a bunch of things that I needed to say, and I was crying so hard, you know. And for the rest of the meeting, everybody kept on referencing like, "Oh man, new guy, congratulations!" You know, because where I got sober, there was this meeting where dudes had like 30 years of sobriety, lots of them, multiple decades of sobriety.
Yeah, and you don't realize how big of a deal it is until after I mean, for me, it was after that 1 year mark. I was like, holy shit, I've been sober for a year.
Yeah. First time that's happened, huh?
Yeah, ever.
Me too.
Want it to be the last.
Yeah. Come on.
And it's wild the way, my thinking changed and how I approached things, situations. And, I mean, it's been a long, long journey
Yeah.
with ups and downs, and that's part of it. Nothing great comes easy. Usually.
Yeah. I mean, the early stages of sobriety are kind of a fight sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, kind of always, right?
Mm-hmm.
They talk about the pink cloud of like,
Yeah.
I mean, the immediate relief of not feeling like you're sick, like physically ill and like in trouble.
That's a win.
Yeah, that's a huge win right off the bat,
Right.
right? But then like the tide of emotions that we haven't dealt with kind of can crush us sometimes, And I got to like keep my chin down and fucking fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and I remember, so I got that 1 year chip, and I was like, well, all right, now I have a whole nother year.
Yeah.
A whole nother year of it's like I was starting over.
Right.
By not starting over. If
Yeah.
that makes any sense.
Sure. I've been told we got to do it one day at a time, but yeah, all right, let's do another year.
Yeah, why not?
At least today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I have addiction in my immediate family.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that you and I share in common. I'm not going to mention like precisely who it is in my family, but, it's tough when there's addiction in your blood and you see it kind of, in your immediate sphere of people that you love and look up to, it almost feels like it's your lot in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I have it on both sides of my family.
Yeah.
And it goes pretty deep. And I've seen it, tear some shit up,
Yeah.
wreck some shit, and like I said before, growing up, it was normal, or I thought it was normal.
Right.
Like I thought it was okay to drink all day on Saturday.
Yeah.
But as I got older and more responsibility, I had more responsibility. It was I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And since I've gotten clean, so there's actually a couple family members of mine who have gotten clean.
Okay.
And it was some were before me and some have been after me. But it's kind of, it just shows how deep it runs in my family because, there's 5 or 6 of us.
Yeah.
And
were you the first one to kind of like get help?
No, I
Okay.
wasn't. I was probably the 3rd or 4th. Now there were a couple that had like attempts before me,
Okay.
but the longer I stay sober, the better feel like it looks for the family, for everyone to see.
Right. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense to me because I think that, the best thing that we can do for someone else who is sick with this disease is to show up and be sober
Yeah,
and show them what it looks like
exactly.
and show them it doesn't have to suck.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things, like, as a life coach here that I try to do is just like, I'm just going to show up and be a sober guy,
Yeah.
and just kind of show you that my life's not over.
Yeah.
Because I was genuinely afraid that my life was going to be over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, well, how am I ever going to go out and meet girls? Like, how am I ever going to like get on stage and do my thing? Like
Right.
play my music and stuff. Like, all that stuff, first of all of that stuff became a lot less important in my mind once I got some sobriety.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, anyway, like the things that you think are important when you're sick, it's like, like having intimacy in your life is important. It's like it's on the hierarchy of needs, being creative is very important to me. But it's like all of that stuff, that I was afraid was going to go away has gotten so much better and so much more meaningful and so much deeper. I wasn't having real relationships with people.
No.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly.
There was no intimacy.
It was all made up, or what you thought was
Yes.
what was real. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was something.
I mean, a part of me was showing up. Like, it's not like I
Yeah,
wasn't
but
there for those
You were
things.
chasing a feeling.
I was chasing a feeling and I wasn't able to reciprocate like the reality that is intimacy,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. What you sharing that, it was, I was thinking about a time I met with my brother, and he's not in recovery, but I was sitting there and I was telling him, yeah, man, I've had, 9 months clean. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah. He's like, you haven't had a beer or anything like that. And I was shocked. I was like, wow, he doesn't believe me.
Dang.
But I thought, I was like, why should he believe me? There's no telling how many times I'd fought the same battle and failed and caved in, and he, I lied.
Mm-hmm.
So now the more, just me staying sober, I feel like I'm gaining back more trust with people like him.
Yeah.
Some relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. Our relationships, they all get better.
Yeah.
You know, I had to make some pretty tough amends, like clean up some wreckage. And I was really surprised how gracious some of the people were about, like hearing me out and forgiving me. And then there was a couple people that told me to go fuck myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and deservedly so, but I tried to clean up my side of the street, and I feel like I was being honest when I was saying like, hey, I know that I screwed up. I'm sorry,
Yeah. But
And
that was pretty tough to swallow.
yeah, man. And then they would be like, well, I don't want anything to do with you. So good luck with your recovery. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, and I thought that was going to kill me at 1st, that would be a perfect reason to drink before, but now nothing is, and like, I can't sacrifice, my sobriety and my responsibility to these young men and women that come through our program, to the people that I meet, that I'm trying to be a good a force for good in the world. You know what I mean? Like, I can't give up any of that because I made a mistake in my past and someone won't forgive me.
Right.
But for the most part, every relationship that I had in the past that I've hung on to has gotten better,
Yeah.
There's more intimacy there. There's more honesty. There's more trust, like you said. Okay. So here's a big deal for me when I have folks on here. It's like, what did you fall in love with outside of like sobriety? When you got sober, like what became some of your passions? What'd you get into?
Let's see. So I started exercising a good bit, and working out, running. I was kind of I was focusing on myself.
Yeah.
And so I was doing recovery, I was working out, and then I got into golf.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah. And it's been it's like another thing I can, it's a constant battle. Something, because I'm was not very good when I started, and I'm not very good now, but I've gotten a lot better over the past year, and it's been something to keep me busy when I get bored.
Yep.
Something to do when I'm not working.
Yeah.
And something that I can carry down the road. I mean, I've heard that it's a good thing to have when you're doing business.
Yeah.
Being able to go play golf.
Yep.
Talk business on the course.
Sure. Yeah, man.
I kind of look forward to that kind of shit.
Yeah. I think I would contest that it's like really, really important and essential to find something that you're not good at.
Yeah.
And turn it into like a hobby.
Yeah.
In recovery.
Yeah, it was I used to get so pissed off because my friends up here, they've been playing golf for years now. They're all better than me, and I'm very competitive, and
yeah,
I was like, holy shit, I gotta
up my game.
I gotta tighten up.
Yeah,
I gotta quit coming out here and embarrassing myself. I was like, but you don't forget that feeling.
Yeah.
And so now I walk around with a golf club in my hand almost all the time.
That's awesome. I love that.
Just practice the swing.
That's great, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is a hard game.
Yeah, to me it's all mental.
Okay.
It's mental battles. Little battles you got to win. Because I mean you can have all the correct form, but if you're go up to the ball and you're thinking about what happened 2 weeks ago,
you're gonna make like a tiny little mistake.
Yeah, it's gonna slice.
Okay.
Or for me, it's a slice.
Yep.
Or it's a chunk.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing but grass.
Uh-huh.
Or you just totally missed the ball.
Dang.
Yeah, that's if you do that in front of people, you do not forget it. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You're gonna chunk or slice.
Or just completely miss the ball.
So yeah, and you whiff it.
Yeah.
So it's all about focus. It's a mental battle. See, that's what I love. So I got into jiu-jitsu. I'm always talking about it, right? You know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always talking about it because that's what it is for me. It's a moment in time where all else fades away and all I'm thinking about is surviving.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like warrior mindset, defeat or be defeated, like overcoming this mental challenge. And it's like playing chess with your body. So you'll encounter these little problems that you get stuck on for a while. And you're like, I keep getting stuck in this one position. And like, and he, like the guy I've been rolling with a lot lately, I think because he's further along than me, he's kind of become my de facto coach, and he puts me in this position very frequently. And so it's become this problem for me. It's a mental battle. It's like this chess problem that I keep on running into. But that's what I love about it is that like over the course of time, I get the chance to correct that problem.
Yeah. And when you do it's an accomplishment feeling.
Right. So then when I roll with somebody who's a blue belt, let's say I think I'm going to do my first competition this year in September.
Really?
And if I roll with a blue belt who tries to put me in that position, I'll have all of this experience rolling with my boy who's a brown belt, who's like this close.
How does that go?
So it's white, blue, purple, brown, black. And then there's like different degrees of black belt, and then like the nonsense of like red belt, which is like you have to be doing jiu-jitsu for so long that you're ancient at that point.
How do you get it? Like, how do they judge? Do you have to do competitions?
So in order for you to rank up in your belts, you need to train under a professor, a black belt. Mm-hmm. Once you get a black belt, you are a professor of jiu-jitsu. You can then rank people and so on. And you train with your professor, and he'll have his eye on you. And in certain gyms, like they'll make you test for your rank. Mm-hmm. Like they'll put you through the paces and see if you have certain techniques down. And then in other gyms, your professor watches you on the mat and just watches your progress, and he just knows when it's time to rank you up. So it kind of depends from gym to gym and who your professor is. But that being said, it's still a really emotional moment no matter what. Even like when I was a white belt and I got my first couple stripes, I was like on the verge of tears, and then when you get your blue belt, and that was like a year into me training, pretty frequently,
So you have your blue belt.
Yeah, I got my blue belt, which is the second belt. It's not a huge deal, but like if you're a competent blue belt and you're in a scuffle with someone who doesn't have any jiu-jitsu experience, you're going to be really effective against them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless they're like
it's like Sam.
Like Sam?
Yeah, like you, Sam.
Sam coming and rolling with me the other day for the first time.
Yeah,
just getting smashed the whole time. He's putting his time in. He's paying his dues.
Yeah,
that's what I remember. One time I was particularly dejected after a session of doing jiu-jitsu. I was a white belt. My professor came in, and I'd become pretty decent friends with him at this point. But he comes in, and I'm just like, I'm hanging my head. I'm just like worn out. I just got smashed the entire time.
Yeah. He's
like, what's going on? You all right? I'm like, yeah, just getting crushed the whole time. He goes, well, when you're a white belt, you're the nail.
Damn.
We know what that makes them. You know?
Yeah.
And that's you just paying your dues, you know, and then you slowly learn how to survive, and that's like the first thing you learn, and then you start learning your, you know, your submissions and stuff.
The bottom of the food chain.
Come on.
Yeah, that's where we are at AMS Tech.
I mean, that's where we are, if we're being honest with ourselves in life right now. Anyway, you know, I mean, once I have it in my head that I'm a black belt at life, that's when I'm really in danger of getting jacked up by either my disease or just something that happens in life. I got to I have to retain my beginner's mind. I have to be curious and pliant and like, you know, well, just curious really, you know.
Yeah, it'll come back and bite you in the ass.
Yeah, as soon as you start thinking you're a big shot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. The ego's a killer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, dude, I'm really proud of you, man, for, you know, doing what you're doing, you know. Like, I've watched your journey. For most of this, you know, I've been around for most of it. And just, like, seeing you transform into the guy that you are right now, it's like, it's a beautiful thing, man. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah. Have you seen the photo?
No. The photo of, like, the before?
My intake photo. Yeah, I was in pretty bad shape.
Yeah.
So I know Jeremy is showing a couple people, and he's like, "Man, this is hope." I'm like, "All right." Like,
did I look that bad?
Yeah. Should I be offended, or is like, you know, I get it. It's a good thing, but yeah, it's been tough, but it's been very rewarding.
Yeah. I'll edit that picture right into this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right, when we're talking.
Nice. Nice. Let the whole world see.
Yeah. The whole entire world is going to watch this.
That would be pretty neat.
Yeah, if like some like little boy runs up to you in like some faraway country as you're traveling and goes, "You're the guy from that."
If he does that.
You looked so terrible. He kicks you in the shin and takes your passport and runs.
He can have it. At that point.
Why?
I don't know.
All right, dude. I love you, man. Thank you for
you
doing
too,
this.
brother.
All right.